Hey y'all, what is up? It's your girl Aisha and we are back for another video. If you are new here, welcome back. And if you're not new here, what's good? What's up? How you doing? And if you're not new here and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button down below and welcome to the family. You're gonna have a lot of fun here, I promise. In this video, yes, we are doing a traditional sew-in. This hair, y'all know I like to give moment of silence, but I'm not gonna do that this time. I'm not gonna do that. But this hair is giving everything it's supposed to give, okay, period. So you guys are gonna see the whole process of how I did this traditional sew-in. I actually, like, literally love it. Before you keep watching this video, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Give this video a thumbs up, because I know you're gonna like it. Go ahead and leave a thumbs up. Tell your friends to come watch this video, okay? Everybody watch the video. Put it on your high definition TV screen. Go watch the video, period. So let's get into this traditional sew-in tutorial.
Alright guys, so the first step in a flat and natural traditional sew-in is the braid down. So I'm gonna start with the leave out. Prior to this, I did deep condition my hair. I also dyed my hair a little darker to jet black just so that it would match the bundles that I got. I got the bundles in color 1, so I had to dye my hair to jet black so that it would match. I love jet black, so I don't mind doing that. So here I'm just leaving my leave out. I left a little bit out in the front, just a little bit, so that when I pulled my hair behind my ear, my hair would blend well with the sew-in. I left a little bit of hair out all the way around my head, and I'm obviously doing a middle part, which is why I had the middle section left out. Now, you don't have to leave out hair around your edges. You could definitely do this sew-in without leaving any hair out. It is possible. I just preferred to leave some hair out around my head just so that when I wear it in a ponytail or anything like that, it would be fully covered. So the first braid that I'm doing is a small braid right around my top leave out. And for this is going to ensure the flatness at the very top so that my hair blends well with the bundles. So I go ahead and braid all the way around to the back of my leave out, and then I do the same thing on the other side. So I do not braid these braids together. They are going to be braided individually, but then I'm going to sew them down. Later in the video, you'll see how I sew them down so that it stays flat. So then this braid around my head, this one, is a preference for me. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I do this because later in the video, you're gonna see that I bring the tracks all the way curved over to the front so that it has a better flow. So these braids are for that purpose. And again, you'll see that later in the video, why I did this braid this way. So I'm braiding it around my head this way, and it's going to stop in the back, kind of just like the two braids on the top of my head. And these two braids I am gonna braid together, and then I'll sew the braid down so that it's flat. So then after I finished this one, I went ahead and did the same thing on the other side. Again, these braids are gonna meet in the back. I will braid it together to make it one braid, and then I will sew that one braid down. And you'll see that later in the video. So as you can see, they're connected in the back. I am gonna sew that braid down later in the video. So for this part is important. This is how I achieve the flatness of my sewing. So I'm going to braid down towards my ear, going around my head now. I'm not gonna go and do a maze. A lot of people like to do a circle maze, which is also okay, but I prefer this way because it makes the sewing a lot flatter. So I'm gonna sew this braid down completely, and then the next braid, the braids are going to connect. So again, doing this braid, just following the shape of my head, gonna braid this braid down towards my ear, and then when I get a little over halfway, depending on the length of your hair, if your hair is longer, you wanna connect the braid sooner, but my hair is a little shorter, so I connected it a little halfway through the braid, and as you can see, the first braid is inside of the second braid, and that ensures flatness, and it just helps with the sewing and make it a lot smoother. And then I'm just gonna continue to do the same thing all throughout my head on both sides until I'm in the very back and the braids are completely done and completely flat. This is the final braid down, everything flat and connected. So now I'm gonna prep my needles. This is how I prep my needles. So I do use curved needles, and I go ahead and take the thread and put it through the hole of the needle and make it as long as I want to. And then I tie the end of the thread twice so that it has a knot that will not go through the braids. That is very important for the knot to be big enough so that it doesn't go through your braids. So now I'm going to sew down all those loose braids that were hanging out. Just sew them and connect it to the braid so that, again, it's super flat and that nothing is hanging out through your sewing. And there's no specific direction for you to sew your braids down into. It's just basically wherever there's space to fit the braid to sew it in. If you have thicker hair, you will have to manipulate the braids in order for it to stay flat. But just find a place where it's open and then go ahead and place the braid there and sew it down. So again, it stays flat. So on the top part, I am sewing the ends of the braids in opposite direction. So one braid coming down to this side as I'm doing now, and then the other braid went to the other side. And as you can see, everything is super flat, connected, and together. So this is gonna ensure for your sewing to be super flat. So this is a protective net. This is just good for your hair, to be honest, and it makes your sewings last longer. So the only reason why I'm sewing this top part down prior to sewing down tracks on it is because the top part is open. Naturally, I wouldn't use a net that had an open top part like that. This was just a net that came in a wig that I ordered a long time ago, so I kept the net and now I'm just using it. So I'm only sewing this part down again because there's a hole, and that's gonna ensure for placement that I make sure I place the track in the right spot and not over the place that has a hole. Again, they do make the weaving caps that don't have an opening at the top. I just had this one at home, so I went ahead and used it. So now I'm gonna sew my tracks down. As you can see, the track is going to be placed underneath the braid. This is important so that when you put your hair up in a ponytail, your leave out will cover the track and it won't be as bulky. This is another method to ensure flatness. can see, the track is sewn down underneath the braid so that when I put it up in a ponytail, my leave out is going to cover the track. So the starting point for the first track was behind both ears, so behind one ear to the other ear, and then the second track went before the ear, so from in front of the ear on one side to in front of the ear on the other side. So at this point, I decided to double the tracks. So I folded the bundle together so that it's 2 tracks that I'm sewing down at the same time. I normally do the flip over method when I'm doing sew-ins on other people's head, but because I'm doing it on myself, it is a lot easier for me to not do the flip over method. And just for reference, the flip over method is when you get to the front or you get to a point where the braid is finished and you have to flip it and continue sewing without cutting the track. So as you can see here, I let go of one of the webs and I kept going with just one, just because I am not gonna flip over here. I'm just trying to set the guide for me to continue to follow as I do this sewing. And the reason why I'm bringing the track to the front this way is because I want my hair to fall to my face and not away from my face. This will also help with flatness and help it look more natural. So I cut that second weft that I was using, and it is still attached to the weft that I'm sewing now. So I'm just going to finish this guide, and then I will cut this track, and then I will continue to follow the guide that I set. Also, when you're sewing, make sure you pull the needle through the center of the thread as I'm doing right here, and that creates a knot and it makes sure that the track will stay in place and that the thread won't start coming off of the track and the braid. So then I cut the thread and I tie it 3 times to secure the track, and then I just cut off the excess thread. And then now I'm securing this part that I cut the weft from, and I'm just going to continue back to the other direction around my head so that I can continue to follow the guide that I created. I was so tired, y'all. My arms were hurting. Okay, but that's all right because this sew-in came out real nice. Okay, period. So we're just gonna continue to sew. Again, I'm creating this guide on this other side to match the first side that I did, and then I'm just gonna continue to follow the guide and continue to sew down my tracks. I used 2.5 bundles for this look. If you want it to be a little bit thicker than what mine was, you can definitely use more. Just sew the tracks super close together so that you can have a flat look and a full look. Later on in this video, I will be adding layers to this look, and that is gonna add a lot of volume and body to the hair. So 2.5 to 3 bundles is a great amount of hair. Anything more than that would possibly be a lot of hair on your head. But again, it is possible to do. I just think 2.5 to 3 bundles is probably the best way to go. So I'm just continuing to create my guide on this side, just like I did on the other side. And now I'm just gonna keep adding tracks to my hair until I have gotten to the top, until everything is done. But yeah, let's just keep sewing these tracks down. Okay, so we are finally at the top. Woo! So I'm just tying the thread, securing the track, and now I am just brushing through the hair. The hair is a little wet because I did wash it, but I am gonna blow dry it, so we'll get to that. But I'm just brushing through it and just loving it, to be honest. And now I'm putting my hair up in a ponytail so that I can cut the excess net off. This is why I did not cut the net prior, because I just wanted to sew on top of it and then I just cut the excess off. This is a lot easier than going through and sewing down the net and then sewing on top of it. This is just a lot faster. So now I'm taking out my leave out and I'm going to straighten everything, straighten my leave out and all of that stuff. Okay, so I know y'all see how flat this sewing is, okay? Period. Super flat. We'd love to see it. So now I'm just checking and making sure that it's going to, my leave out is going to cover it well. So it did, and now I'm just gonna blow dry my hair. So now I'm just blow drying the hair and just making sure it's dry. I'm using the comb attachment on my blow dryer to blow it out completely. So again, just straightening out my leave out. I did use heat protectant, so I'm using the Cantu heat protectant spray. As you can see, I didn't spray very much and I sprayed it pretty far from the hair because I didn't want the hair to turn oily. So just straightening out my leave out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add layers to this hair. Yes, this came out so good and it's super flat, really pretty, loving the way it came out. So now we're gonna add layers. So I'm starting in the front, and as you can see, I'm cutting downwards in a diagonal motion. Do not cut in a straight line because it will make your cuts look very blunt. So I'm going through in a diagonal motion and then moving my other hand downwards so that I'm not cutting too much in the same length and I am creating those layers. Again, cut on top and downwards in a diagonal manner like this so that you can create those volume layers. And I did do a straight cut at the end just because I think it always looks better with a straight cut. I don't know, I just love straight cut ends like that. So I'm going ahead and adding layers to my desired look. Make sure you take your time here and don't rush through it. Don't cut too much off because you can't go back when you cut too much off. So make sure you take your time and make sure that you are going slowly and that you are not cutting the same place too many times, which is why I'm using my comb to separate and then just make sure that the layers are blending really well. Went ahead and did it on the other side as well. Cut downwards in a diagonal motion and just make sure that your hand is going down so that you can create the face frame in the front and then the layers throughout the rest of your head. Yes, so this looks good to me. I like the way that it looks. I go ahead and check the front and make sure that they're pretty even and that they start at the same place, but period. This looks so good. And this was the styling the next day. It's giving body.
baby. Can you guys tell that I'm glowing? Yes, I love this style. Really, really love this style. I love the jet black. If y'all can't tell, me and jet black go together real bad. Like, real bad. It's giving, what is it giving? Tell me what it's giving. Leave a comment down below and tell me what it's giving. Period. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below what you think of the style, what you guys want to see next, any tutorials that you guys would like to see. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching my videos, for supporting, for liking, for commenting. I appreciate all the love, super grateful, and I'm so glad that you guys are joining the family. Keep joining the family. Keep telling your friends to tell a friend to tell your friend to tell a friend, and let's make this one big happy family, okay? Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok. If you want to see how I achieve this curl, there is a tutorial on my Instagram and my TikTok. It will come up on the screen. And until next time, bye! Thanks for watching, guys.